reporting on the games you love by people who love to game. The MMO Reporter Network.
Let's see now. 12 paces north, because I've been married 12 times. Wait, does best count? I don't know about it. How'd you escape my clutches? You're one slippery eel, I'll give you that. Ye weren't me type anyway. Not like me Connie. Well, she weren't exactly me type either. Not like me Trista. Now that one could cook, but then she'd go sharing her biscuits all around town while I was out at sea. There was me Heather. Poor sweet Heather. Blown overboard in that storm. Help me, please help me. Help me.
Happiness mode engaged.
Hello.
Welcome.
Ready for action.
Happy to meet you, Hero.
Glad to have you with us.
You'll find everything you need here.
Hail, traveler.
Wake up, you motherless ends. It's time to go.
I'd offer the traditional pirate's greeting, but your spleen is better unperforated.
You're listening to Guild Wars Reporter on the MMO Reporter Network, brought to you by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook download at audibletrial.com/MMOReporter and by Doghouse Systems. Choose your weapon at doghousesystems.com.
Hello and welcome to episode 158 of Guild Wars Reporter. I am Allona and I am joined this week by Ultra, with Ultra. Someone named Ultra's here. Hi, Ultra.
Hello, Allona.
And I actually thought to look up nice words that start with U so that I could come up with alliterations, and then I completely forgot to do it. So you're just Ultra.
You'll just be alliterationless, Allona.
True. So very true. See, Ultimate Ultra is just, I don't want to be harsh, Em, but it's just a little obvious.
That was exactly what I thought as well. And a little over-the-top egotistical. I mean, my name...
Even someone whose name is Ultra?
Yeah, Ultimate just pushes it way too far overboard.
Yeah. Do you own an umbrella? Because I could say umbrella-less Ultra.
Umbrella-less Ultra.
Or umbrellaed. So not many that good words that come with you other than Ultra and Ultimate. Unusual.
There's a good one.
Yes.
Yeah. Unusual Ultra.
Yes. So, Ultra, we're going to get this show on the road. What did you do in-game this week?
I have done a lot this week. I teach, so I have the summer off right now, so I have more time on my hands than I really should. I finished the Spirit Smith achievement. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Aether was the last one that I had to make, and I got to give a shout out to some of my guildies because I was talking with them. I was like, it'll probably be another month before I have the gold and the ancient wood to complete it. And they sent me about 100 gold worth of ancient wood, and I finished Aether. And so I have all of them, and I got the back piece, and everything is blue now. It's really cool.
I don't even know how to make those. I just assumed it was something that was beyond my reach and never really looked into it.
It was one of those things I never thought I would do, simply because I thought it was too little investment for too little reward, but...
Cachet.
Yeah,
you get cachet out of having those.
Yeah, and I really like all the skins, so...
I just assumed the spirit weapons were beyond my grasp.
I went through about 3,000 gold in a month. It was quite the project. But honestly, what really got me started on it was the Heart of Thorns Ultimate Edition. Mm-hmm. With the gems that I got from that, I shamelessly converted them to gold and kickstarted the whole project. After I finished Spirit Smith, I kind of went on a farming frenzy and have just done tons of dungeons at Silver Waste. I liquidated some stuff in my bank, and I made over 400 gold this week. It's been a really good week,
I think I
which
saw
is
that
nice.
on Twitter too.
Yeah. My next big project is the Predator, and I'm over halfway to buying the Precursor now. Ooh. So that's a really good feeling. Aside from that, I pretty much just did a lot of dueling with guildies. That's something my guild has been doing a lot of lately. We just hop in our private arena and just practice builds against each other and, hone our skills. Kind of like what you guys talked about last week with what Rom suggested.
Yes, what neither of us have done.
Yeah, it's so much fun. If you have like someone that you're close to, like a friend, where you can just, kind of go in with no expectations and have it not be like an ego thing and just, have fun and try to get better, give each other pointers. It's one of my favorite things to do in the game, actually. It's just sparring with guildmates.
I should try it.
It's nice. That was pretty much my past week, 2 weeks. Yeah, what did you do this week?
What I did... One, I started making little post-it notes when I do things that I think I should probably talk about on the show. And it's been very helpful for when I go to do the show notes and can't remember what I've done all week. So I kind of went crazy this week with everything. I made medium ascended gloves, so I only have the headpiece left. Then I'll have one full set of ascended done, and it's so slow. Oh, it takes forever.
It's tedious.
Damask is my... Damask!
Just silver waste. You can crank one out every day.
I probably should. I always have other things I have to do, though. Not have to. Want to. Let's be honest. Want to. Actually, what should have been first probably is that I PvP'd with MMO Reporter folks. Celeste and I and Panther from Mock, actually, joined Bill and Chris from MMO Reporter, and we PvP'd. And it was very late.
Was this the one you invited me to?
Yeah, that you weren't available for? Yeah, it was that one.
Sorry.
Yeah, that one. It was okay. We didn't need you.
Well, I got the invite. I was like really excited. I was like, oh yeah, I could do this. But then I think I was already queued up with my guildies or something like that. I forget.
Totes fine. There was supposed to be one of the other guys from MMO. Harry, I think, was supposed to be on too, but wasn't able to be. So it was awesome. We did well. I think we played 3 games and we won at least one of them. That's all I remember. I didn't make a note about that. But more entertainingly, just a couple days ago after a Windows update, I was PvPing, started back up in game, PvPing, and I just kept dying. And I couldn't figure out why I wasn't healing. And I realized that my mouse was not using the right profile. And it had no heal skill.
Oh, no.
So I was like, why am I dying? And oh, the buttons aren't the right color. Oh, push. Oh, look, I can heal. This is much better. It was hard to tell because all the other keys function basically as intended, but for whatever reason, on the profile that it seems to think is default, the heal skill isn't there, so... I flipped a table at that point. Oh well. Saturday we did Fungeons and Fractals with Mock, and that was a lot of fun. We did the low-level Fractal to take advantage of the dailies for that one, so we didn't do any with Agony. So there wasn't really necessarily progression for that one.
Okay.
But more importantly, we did Twilight Arbor Aether Path.
Oh yeah, you guys said you wanted to do that last week. How'd it go?
Go us! It actually went really well. The trickiest part was coordinating leading the oozes down. Everything else went pretty good. I think we wiped 2 or 3 times, which, for a path that I think some of us had never done and others, the last time I did it was when it was still in its initial, introduction.
Yeah.
And Irish Dog is right. It only took about an hour and 40 minutes once we minused out all our delays, Keys in the chat saying that her keypad that she uses wiped all the bindings, so she had to reset everything while we were in the dungeon. And then while she was doing that, someone else Cloud would say, well, I'll just go check on my laundry or something, and I'll be right back. But he'd leave just as M was available. It was just It was fun. Saint was with me the first time I went through, and it took us over 6 hours to do that path. So an hour 40, dreamy. I'll take it.
That's not bad. This is a really tough dungeon path. I think I've only ever done that once, and it took us over an hour.
Yeah.
I mean, we were trying to get achievements too, but it can be really messy.
We got a couple. I think there was 1 or 2 that I just popped by accident. I don't have the stay off the electrified floor one, obviously. I'll never get that one.
Mm.
And then Monday, there was guild missions with Maven, and it was fun. Went really well. I don't want to spoil whether I won or lost or not for people if they want to get surprised when the videos come out on Bog's channel. And I was super chatty for some reason. I don't know why. Some days I'm just extra chatty. Hunter beat me. That is true. That's apparently all that matters. And then after missions, several members of Maven ran 2 paths of Sorrow's Embrace because Matsta needed some of the tokens for it. So and they went like super quick. They all knew what they were doing. So I'm just like, I'll just keep up and hit things once in a while. So
Yeah.
I'm like,
That's a good dungeon, like Path 1. If you like know that, you can get it done in like 6-7 minutes.
we were really quick. I don't think we were quite that quick, but yeah, it was. I really like Sorrow's Embrace. I like the.
Yeah.
I love the dredge. Tuesday night, which was just last night, Mock ran Honor of the Waves. We've been just like dungeoning like crazy.
Wow.
We ran Honor of the Waves just 'cause we had enough people on. Thought why not?
Yeah.
And we did 1 single fractal for the daily. And of course we got Harpies. We always
I don't
get
think
Harpies.
I don't think I've ever had that one.
You can't not have had Harpies.
I think I've only ever done like 20 dungeons, or sorry, fractals ever.
Harpies are like every time practically.
I've got Fire Shaman like every time.
Oh.
Like I always hear my guildies complaining about it, but honestly, it's all I know, so I don't think it's that bad.
But I like them all. It's just funny that we get Harpies so many times.
Oh, okay.
So
I got you.
yeah. And so that was it. So we are live streaming Wednesdays at 9:30 p.m. EDT, 6:30 p.m. PDT at twitch.tv/MMOReporter. You can subscribe to the audio version of the podcast on iTunes and Stitcher, and rate and review us so that other people know that we're a real podcast and exist.
Hooray.
Hooray! And we are doing a Kickstarter at MMO Reporter Network to send Chris and the team to PAX Prime in August. So check out the link and perhaps think about making sure they're able to get there and bring all the videos and experiences from the show floor as they have been for the last 4 years. Bah, bah, bah.
That'd be really cool to go to.
I was at East and this one's bigger. I can only imagine how ginormo it would be.
Yeah, I'd love to go to one someday. Like maybe East next year if I can make it out.
I would go back to East, that's for sure. Well, and it's like a 9-hour drive, so it's not too bad. From anywhere. I'm just going to say that. Not just from me. Everywhere.
Think we're ready for another attack?
From land, air, or sea, we won't be caught off guard again.
Report from Lion's Arch.
Long live Lion's Arch.
There was a blog post last Friday, I believe, possibly Thursday, Adventuring Forth. And it's a blog post by Byron Miller on the official Guild Wars 2 website. Adventures are small, fast-paced, single adventure events that challenge you to master a wide variety of skills in a race against the clock. What's more, adventures are custom-built with leaderboards that allow you to compete against your friends and guildmates for bragging rights. So, yeah, that.
I think that's good. I heard some grumblings about there being a comparison, but I think a little friendly competition is always fine. Of course, there are people that are going to, not be great about it, but
Yeah.
I kind of like that you can compare yourself against your friends and stuff, because then, you can kind of like what you guys do with your guild rushes, how you race against each other.
Yeah.
You have another thing you can put over Hunter.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't, though. Actually, I had this at the end, but I'm going to talk about it now because Teemu Mäkinen, I couldn't find their actual tweet because I just screen capped it when I saw it and wasn't able to find their actual Twitter page. But they, while pretty harsh, it tapped into how I felt reading about adventures, and what they said was competition, race against the clock, pseudo-random patterns that must be memorized, bragging rights. This sounds like a perfect combination of everything I hate about the game rolled into one toxic Skinner box. I'll pass. So
okay, in that light, that's pretty fair.
But so it just comes down to you can pass. You don't have to do it.
Yeah. I
was really like, ooh. So moving on, they say each adventure showcases a seemingly simple path to victory that requires strategy, practice, and mastery in order to excel and ultimately achieve success. Shooting gallery adventure in Verdant Brinked. The premise of this adventure is simple. You have a short amount of time to shoot as many targets as you can before the nobles' shoddy craftsmanship begins to show and the target dummies degrade. You're given a rifle with a few shots left, and you can collect additional ammunition that's strewn about the area. Additionally, the nobles will give you ammunition as a reward for accuracy and prowess. So, we've designed every adventure around learning the skills necessary to perfect them, building replay into the core of the activity, which I thought that was interesting because it's very similar to activities, but not. Some of them will still be instance, but some of them are.
Yeah, I saw that. Like the combat ones are instance so that people can't interfere with them.
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
Finally, we believe that rapid iteration, including the ability to quit and start quickly, is another key aspect of the adventure experience. If, for whatever reason, you want to restart an adventure early, you can close out your adventure and hit the restart button to be teleported back to the beginning of the adventure. We understand that if you're trying to earn a place on the leaderboard where execution is key and every second counts, the downtime between attempts should be as short as possible, which for the people that will take this, pretty seriously, that's great. Because that would be very frustrating otherwise. And that's actually happened in other things. And I can't, was it the clock tower the one year? The timer for it? I think it was before you started playing. The first year for the Halloween. It was set on a certain timer, and sometimes if you died, you'd be waiting a while more, and I think they fixed it. I haven't really done Clock Tower much. I might be making things up. Please correct me if I'm wrong, chat room. Each and every adventure in the world has its own leaderboard, allowing you to compare your performance with those of your friends and your guildmates, and encouraging social interaction. Like trash talking, apparently. Apparently that might count as social interaction.
Technically, yeah.
In addition to bragging rights, leaderboards will also provide you with sweet rewards. Each leaderboard can yield a daily participation reward, but the meat of the loot is at the top. Each board has 3 tiers, think gold, silver, and bronze, that require a certain minimum score or a maximum time to enter. Upon entry in those prestigious tiers, you'll be rewarded for your efforts. And IB Storage is saying, that there was a lobby timer for the clock tower. I think it was just the first year. I think it changed after that. But yeah, this was one of those, I will wait and see.
Yeah.
And they do seem to be either you're like, ooh, super awesome, this is awesome, or about them. There doesn't seem to be a whole lot of middle ground with adventures.
I'm on the fence about them. Initially I thought, this is good, a little competitive edge in PvE, but then the more I read this, the more I kind of think, well, the beauty of Guild Wars PvE is it's just designed so much so that the community gets along, and putting something in there that makes it competitive.
Well, I kind of see this as just mini PvP within a PvE wrapper. So
yeah,
and they're totally optional. That's the other thing. I might try it, but
just as long as the mechanics that we see in some of these adventures have no connection with anything else, because I just don't want to see say we get some new dungeons in Heart of Thorns, and then people put in LFG must be gold tier to run this dungeon, gold tier in this adventure or whatever. This is just speculation, but I just hate to see that kind of thing emerge.
I think it's individual though.
Okay.
So I don't think that would be a factor in this particular case, unless people figure out how to game the system like they do with the lobbies, the rooms for the dailies for PvP, where people will just hop in to get guaranteed wins.
Yeah.
For the PvP, which I've never used, by the way, as my ranking stats indicate. So yeah, that was it about adventures. We may move on to the next thing.
The Revenant beta event occurred, and people were kind of saying, well, we were missing the damage class. And they announced the damage class, Shiro, and they discussed a bit of it, which it looks really, really cool.
Yeah, they discussed it on Points of Interest, and also there was a forum post about the Revenant, and also some more news about it on the Guild Wars 2 news site.
They're getting weapon swapping, apparently. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And okay, so this is where apparently I'm the curmudgeon this episode. Because I will admit I wasn't very jazzed with this change when I heard about it. I love the bookending of a light, a medium, and a heavy profession all having non-weapon swapping, because their entire mechanic is based on swapping like kits, attunements, or legends. However, after watching Points of Interest, I mostly changed my mind. Mostly. Actually, I'm still a little bummed about it. I realize I'm firmly in the minority here.
They need the weapon swapping. Like, I'm totally on the opposite side of the fence. When I was playing the class, I just thought, okay, I get what they're trying to do, like with attuning to different legends. It's just that the legends don't match more than one weapon set. And that creates such a problem. Like, if you're trying to run Condi, and with the current legends, it seemed like the only one that you could go with was, what was his name? I forget.
Malix.
Yeah, if you went with anything but Malix, it was pretty much only to heal and then switch back as soon as you could. I thought a weapon swap would just really make the class a lot more functional.
Yeah. I kind of wonder if at that point then, and again, in the minority, and I was told I was crazy with anyone I talked to about it, that maybe Ellie and NG should also get weapon swapping then, because there's so many times, people talk about dagger Ellie, and I'm like, yeah, and I tried it, I'm like, but I need some range, so it would be nice to be able to swap between close and range on occasion, and same with, I guess NG a little bit less so to a certain degree, but...
Ellie, I think, yes. Like I think it would be nice if Ellie's could. I mean, that's a whole lot of stuff for them to manage then, because you think about it, you're adding 20 more skills.
Yeah, but you have to know those anyway, whether, like, oh, just like I'm out of combat, switch my weapons.
I think that would probably make Ellie just completely
overpowered.
Yeah,
I agree.
Way too overpowered. They'd have to overhaul the class if they added weapon swapping to it. NG, I think it's completely unnecessary. Like, honestly, like, this may offend some people, but, like, I main NG, and I think that if you feel like NG should be able to weapon swap, then you're not playing the class correctly.
Yeah, I was just more saying for, like, I like bookending.
Yeah, yeah.
I like the
ambiance.
Yeah, that's as close as anything right now. Yeah, I liked the mechanic of it, and I just wish it could work without requiring weapon swapping, I guess, because I like that sort of thing. So
I like functional classes. That's like my thing. Sorry, that was just a little poke.
Well, it's also not done. But yes, weapon swap, new quality for all. Woo! Symmetry. Yeah, I like the symmetry of it too.
Yeah.
So they're tightening up on Condi damage, decreasing cast time for the Revenant specifically, decreasing cast times, instant legend swap, and some other really solid changes that will help make Revenant a much more well-rounded profession and enjoyable class to play. And those were all great changes, I think.
Something I think that would be nice if they did is, that displacement spell that they have? It creates that giant pool, and if people walk into it, they're teleported out of it.
Vaguely.
I think they need to make that much more obvious, and I think they need to make it like Void or Rift-like in appearance, because as it is, it's really tough to see that. I mean, for me, maybe this could just be a personal struggle, but in World v. World and PvP, it was so hard to see that, and so it just seemed like I couldn't fight against that. Like, I would just get teleported out of things in like World v. World Zerg fights, and I couldn't figure out where it was. It was hard to track. So it'd be nice if they just made that like this big purple glowy, void thing.
Okay. I have to look into that a bit more, because I don't remember exactly what you're talking about, but making things more visible.
Yeah.
Not a bad thing. Yeah.
It's a really cool opportunity for some animation too. I mean, if they just want it to be kind of hard to detect, that's great. But
actually,
it's tough.
Yeah, that can see. Oh, yeah, I could see You don't necessarily want a huge, get out of my dangerous thing that I totally want you in.
Yeah. But I mean, at the same time, it's such a big field. Like, it covers almost an entire cap in a lot of PvP maps.
Ooh.
And if you throw that in the middle of, like, a Zerg, like, it displaces a lot of people very easily. Just a thought.
Yeah.
Moving on here, Shiro is dual swords with some pretty amazing skills that are super DPS heavy. And there's a lot of lore callbacks, a lot of references and allusions to Guild Wars 1, because that's where Shiro's from. Mm-hmm. That skill that Ritlock does in the trailer that we first got to see back in January, the one where he blinks around and kicks, yep, that is Shiro.
Yep. And it doesn't look any less impressive on little sample gameplay on points of interest. Like, yeah, that still looks really cool. In fact, all the skills looked really cool on points of interest. The aesthetics of them all were really quite interesting.
Oh, yeah. It's a really neat looking class. Like, I like the look of it a lot.
Aesthetic. That was the word I was looking for before.
Oh, okay.
The aesthetic.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
You know how sometimes things just come to you? Yes, I like the aesthetic of the Revenant, and I liked the aesthetic of being a non-weapon swapping. There you go.
Yeah. Nailed it.
Thanks.
To sum up the Revenant, here are the weapons. We have mace, sword, axe, hammer, and staff. The legends that you can attune to are Jalis Ironhammer, Malix the Unyielding, Ventari, and Shiro Tagachi.
And we have no idea who the elite is going to be, but
Snuff.
Snuff. Oh. Well, I was trying to decide because, well, who are we going to...
Maybe Glint? Could it be Glint?
Oh, right. Most people assume Glint. You're right. The Glint is what's been tossed around. Never mind, I take it back.
Okay.
One legend per Guild Wars 1 box. Interesting.
That puts Koss out of the running.
Yeah. Koss on Koss.
I always thought Koss was just the coolest. Like, when I first started Guild Wars, like, I started in Nightfall.
Me
and
too!
He was, like, the first person I saw. I was like, this big afro dude is, like, the guy guiding me around? How cool is this?
Yeah. They were all great. They were all so good.
Yeah.
Moving on. There was a teaser image on Monday for the Tempest, and we thought for sure that that's all that we would have to talk about with it today. But no, 10 Ton Hammer actually got to do a pre-release of the Tempest, and which means we have content by reading somebody else's.
Yeah.
Woo!
This is not like a starved community at all.
Well, it was like Wednesday night we don't get the Thursday news, but the show is out on Friday morning as opposed to Monday if we record Thursday. So it's like, So in any event, cracks knuckles, get down to business. Over on 10 Ton Hammer, they talked about the Tempest, and with the blessing of Guild Wars 2, because Guild Wars 2 also tweeted out the article, so clearly they know about it.
Yeah.
Just covering my bases here. The core mechanic for the Tempest allows the specialization to overload their attunements. After a period of time remaining in one attunement, players will be able to reactivate it to perform a special channeled ability. Carl McLean from ArenaNet, who they talked to for this article, and who previously detailed the Dragon Hunter, states that these abilities are so chaotic and draining that they exhaust your current attunement, locking you out of it for a period of time should you move to another element. Before you ask, yes, the fresh air trait will refresh your exhausted air attunement and allow you to overload it much sooner.
That's scary.
My Ellie is one of my least played professions, so I'm just going to try sound very knowledgeable when I read this, just so you know.
Okay.
Because I don't necessarily really understand. Besides the overload skills, and as previously mentioned, the Tempest also gains access to a war horn, which we saw in the teaser image. Although it's perhaps not what some were expecting, because of data mining, the war horn is thematically fitting and has allowed ArenaNet to design a set of 8 skills that are visually striking. And I will say also, I think when talking about the Tempest Wooden Potatoes in one of his videos a while ago, he questioned the sword as the one that people were thinking Ellie's would get, and he thought the Warhorn would make a better fit. So I thought that was like, this sounds
Clever.
familiar.
Yeah.
I'm really super excited for Friday's Points of Interest to see what the visually striking air quotes that they're talking about, because they totes can do it. So I want to see what we're getting. Elementalists are getting shouts. So I guess this is the profession that they said one profession was getting a full set of shouts. Although they think they said at least one, because that's Necros and Elementalists now, right?
Yeah, both of them.
Yeah.
Wow. So, Runes of the Trooper, better buy those now.
Bet it's too late, buddy.
I think they're around 2 gold, maybe.
The article also says, finally, when it comes to traits, there's no surprise that the Tempest offers defense, support, and a focus on overloading your attunements. Here are 3 minor traits that we know of. Singularity. Similarly to all elite specializations, this minor trait provides the unique mechanic for the Tempest and unlocks the ability to overload your attunements. So that's the one that gives it to you, the ability to overload. What are you laughing at?
Just the way you describe that.
It gives it to you. I say things without thinking sometimes, and without thinking.
It's the trait that just makes stuff happen. That,
yes.
You know, that's the one that does the thing.
It unlocks it. It unlocks the overloading. Hardy Conduit grants protection when the Tempest begins to overload their attunement. This trait can also be bolstered by a specific major trait I called Earthen Proxy. The effects of protection on you will be increased from 33% to 40% damage reduction. There's your 33%, Ultra.
Yeah, that's just ANET's favorite number. ArenaNet's favorite number. So
33.
Something needs more damage? Well, increase it by 33%. That's just what we do.
Like your voice for it. That's just what we do.
I'll talk the rest of the podcast like this.
Not gonna lie, I would kind of love that.
My wife, did you hear my wife? She was
No.
in the background in the other room. She's like, please don't.
Oh, see, I would love this. So moving on, segueing away from what we're actually talking about, Speedy Conduit. You gain 33% bonus movement speed when overloading an attunement. Similarly to Earthen Proxy, you can also enhance this trait by equipping the Lucid Singularity trait, which heals you every second and reduces the duration of incoming inhibiting conditions by 100%. So, Runes of the Trooper can be crafted.
Oh, hot dog.
Hot diggity dog.
Hot diggity dog.
And they finished up the article with more of an interview style with Carl. And actually, honestly, I kind of liked the combo effect of the article where, the first half was information and then the second half was interview. I thought it was really good to blend those two. We're just going to say what Carl says. Currently, it takes anywhere from 2.75 seconds to 5 seconds to fully complete an overload ability. Each overload has a specific thing that they do while channeling damage control support, and an additional effect at the end of the ability. An example of this is that you'll overload your water attunement to rapidly heal and cleanse conditions from your allies for 2.75 seconds, then burst water outward for a large heal and area effect regeneration. That sounds cool.
Yeah, it does.
Being as these abilities are so powerful and exhausting, overloading an attunement has a 20-second recharge and will set that attunement on the same recharge. 15 seconds if you have the trait Harmonious Conduit equipped. Being interrupted will set everything on full cooldown, so make sure you're in an opportunistic position when using them. An exception to this is Earth Attunement, in which you're given a break bar that will eat a few control skills before you're interrupted. Ooh, that's nice. I'm a big fan of Earth Attunement, so cool.
Yeah. This makes it seem like a pretty high-risk thing to do.
Well, it's, Warhorn's going to give Elementalists 8 new abilities based on attunement and provide a much more control-oriented option for them. Where daggers are offensive and focus is more defensive, you'll see the Warhorn gain more area control and group support via fields and wide-range skills, while being less self-defensive or single-target offensive.
That's really good, because I thought Elementalists as a whole were lacking in fields. So it's nice that they're going to be able to finally use fields.
Yeah.
They got so many fields. I'm surprised that was one of the things that fields was going to be added.
Mm-hmm. Finally, Carl said the Tempest is envisioned as a close to mid-range combat style. You're encouraged to be up with your front line with area denial abilities, controlling enemies, and healing allies, while overloading attunements to maintain pressure against enemies who dare venture near. The Tempest synergizes well with Dagger main hand and has a variety of support to some builds already available to the Elementalists, while being open enough to assist in its own unique playstyle. With shouts coming into play, you'll be offered a fairly unique ability to break stun for allies as well. Yay, stun break. Saint just said in chat room, the risk of overloading will depend on if you can move while channeling. And yeah, well, I guess we don't really know that necessarily. We'll find out probably Friday for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So further, when we didn't think that we would have anything really to talk about with the Tempest yet, I had casually mentioned on Twitter that I would come up with my top 10 Ellie-themed Warhorn skins, and I have done so, and it was hard, because I didn't think I would be able to find as many as I did, and then oh man, even today I still had 20 and I had to pare down. So, it's mine, and I've already had plenty of disagreement on this list from other people. So, if you hate this list, that's okay. You're allowed. For number 10, I chose Zenith. And that's because I love the Zenith Warhorn skin. And I don't care what anyone else says. And I think
nice.
And I think it goes, it's kind of, I know Crystally doesn't necessarily go with Ellie quite as much as some of the others, but I still see it as kind of elemental because they're crystals. So that's why I chose that one. The Antique Herald, any of the Ascended Warhorn skins. So I wanted to include this one partly because I think it's a nice looking skin, but also because there's a range of colors that you could use if you manage to unlock them all. So
right.
There's that. Phoenix, not because I am necessarily a huge fan of it, but I recognize that it would be very well suited for an elementalist with the flames and all. Song of the Temptress, because it's just so pretty. Gosh, it's pretty. I was actually talking with Celeste a little bit earlier, and she was saying that Song of the Temptress has basically skyrocketed in price, apparently. In fact, Warhorns in general.
Wow.
Yeah. Tempest, which is, so Phoenix and Tempest are Black Lion skins. I did try to keep them a little bit to a minimum for this. I know this one isn't a lot of people's favorites. I've always liked most of the Tempest skins, and this one I kind of thought was a no-brainer for an Ellie, being that it's windy and all.
And it's the Tempest for the Tempest.
Yes.
It just fits.
But it's in the bottom. It's in the bottom 5 still. Number 5 was the Molten. I think it's actually the Molten Harbinger is what it's called. I can't remember exactly, but it's the Molten one, so it's kind of shoots molten-y flame everywhere.
And it's easily accessible.
So, Zenith is, Antique Herald is, Song of the Temptress is. I did try to include a bit of a mix. That one is probably a little bit better for if you're a rough and tumble char and you want like a Warhorn and you're an Ellie.
Yeah,
so.
Or just like a fiery themed Ellie.
Yeah.
Fire Nation Ellie.
Peacemaker, and actually I have to, Panther in chat, I was on with them, or with him, and he suggested that one, and I hadn't really even considered it, and then once I got looking at it, I thought, that actually would, one, it's a little bit more Azura themed, but also it does have a fair bit of electricity crackling around it, so it would work really well for an Ellie from that point of view.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't have this list, I think, without including the Chaos Warhorn.
Yeah.
which again is Black Lion, but it works. It's a good one for this. Number 2, the Ley Line weapon skin or Warhorn skin, and I tossed this one around whether I thought it would, and I just kept coming back to it. I just thought no. I was actually a little surprised that it ended up at number 2 for me, but it is. And finally, Corrupted, and I just think across the board, this is a great skin for Ellie's.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really nice.
Yeah, it's neither too aggressive or too frilly, I guess. When I was trying to think, I thought it just crossed a lot of different boundaries there. And finally, I had some honorable mentions. Partly these are just skins that I love and really wanted to make sure I crammed them into the list somehow. The Zodiac Fused Fractal. Actually, I don't really like the Fractal one, but it really does kind of aesthetically fit, even though I don't like it. Following the Molten, Fused and Primordius are in my honorable mentions, and they were kind of like between them and Molten. Molten made the cut, but they're kind of in the same vein.
Right.
Ebon Vanguard, I love the Ebon Vanguard Warhorn skin. It is so gorgeous.
It's a good one, yeah.
It's a great one, but I just, for keeping it in the theme, it didn't make the cut. Dream Thistle, again, great. Siren's Call, very similar to Song of the Temptress, so I just And Daydreamers, it was close because it almost looked like waves, which could be kind of watery even though it's green. But yeah. So that's my list for the skins.
It's a good list.
It was actually a lot harder to pick 10 than I thought. Like, I thought it would be, 5 would be easy, 10 might be a bit of a stretch. Nope. It was hard. Like, I had 25 at one point, and I was on with Hunter last night. He was like, that's like half of them. I'm like, I know. And there was other ones, like, I was thinking about the Mountain Call Warhorn, which is actually only in the Hall of Monuments. So if you don't have the Hall of Monuments, you'd never be able to get it. So anyway, when we originally didn't think we'd have anything to talk about, I innocently thought about doing this, and then we had lots to talk about.
My list is just the Winter's Day horn. That's all there is on it. I don't even have that skin, but that's just my list.
I wondered about that one. You know what? I'm going to add it to my honorable mention.
It's a good skin.
Oh, that occurs to me. The Winter's Bite one, the ones that are wooden, like the alpine-looking ones, that wasn't even in my wardrobe.
Is there a Warhorn for that? I thought there was only a few, skins.
No, I thought there was one in that. We'll have a link to the wiki gallery. I'm not saying I'm going there right now, but I'm totally going there right now. In any event, we are now moving on to something I know nothing about.
Golem Rush.
Yeah. Is it still going on?
It'll end on Friday, 24th.
So
that's Friday, right? Yeah. Joshua Davis talked about the ongoing Golem Rush event in World vs. World, and he compared it to a previous special event called Sneak Attack, which had been intended to test a permanent change to World v. World mechanics. He reassured viewers that the Golem Rush is not a test of eternal Golem supremacy, but rather is part of a new type of event created to spice up the game mode temporarily. I did not like this event at all. I do not like this event. I was very optimistic about it. I thought it would be really fun, but maybe it's because I'm a roamer and that's the bulk of the time I spend in World v. World. This just made roaming a nightmare. I've done maybe 1 hour total of World v. World the past week, and that's probably a stretch. I went in Friday night with my guild and tried to do some zerging a bit. I just didn't like it. I've done some roaming off and on, and it's super frustrating being chased around by Omega Golems, no matter what I'm doing. It's just.
Have you been in since Friday?
Yeah.
All? Okay.
Yeah. I've been in off and on. It's just, I know some people really like this event, and I can understand why. It's a change of pace. It's goofy, and it's kind of designed to be very fast pace, low risk, high reward. Well, I mean, the golems cost a lot of gold, but you don't really have to take World v. World seriously to be effective in it right now. All you have to do is have some golems, and you don't have to calculate siege, you don't really have to play the chess game of moving your Zerg around the map and trying to take objectives. All you have to do is rush golems around all over the place. And I think it really takes away from...
I was actually really surprised when I saw on Twitter that you were like, nope, I'm done with this, don't like it. And I'm like, but you seemed so pleased with it when you heard it was coming. You're like, this is going to be awesome.
Yeah, I initially was very optimistic about it. And me saying this doesn't mean that I think ANET has bad ideas or anything like that. It's just that I'm not a fan of this one. And it's because I like serious competition. I like that. And this has made World v. World less serious, which I guess I'm not a total fan of it. And for me to say like it makes World v. World less serious, that's kind of unfair for me to say as a roamer, because a lot of people accuse roamers of not taking it too seriously. But it's just not my cup of tea, I guess.
But it is temporary.
Yes, it is temporary, and I am glad that they are doing events like this, and then putting like a Call of the Mist bonus in this week too, so you can get extra experience by being in World v. World and extra magic find. So I think it's really good. I think it's drawn a lot of people into World v. World that normally wouldn't do it. It's just, not for me. I hope they do continue to come up with events like this. Hopefully some I like. Not to say that I'm overly picky or hard to please, but I hope they continue trying to make events to shake things up. I would really like to see maybe another tournament series.
I had heard a thought that a week was maybe a little excessive, that if it had been the weekend, it probably would have been just right.
Yeah, I saw that on a forum post, but I disagree with that. I think, even though I don't like it, I think it should be a week long, because that gives a larger number of players a chance to try it out.
Yeah. Okay, as much as I haven't been in yet, I do plan on it. Looks at watch. Invisible watch. So we'll see if I do or not.
Who knows? Maybe I'll try tomorrow night. I'll try it again, and it'll be fun. But it just hasn't struck me.
Well, not to pun on the name Golem Rush, but there was probably a huge rush on the Friday.
Yeah.
I can only imagine it's died down a great deal by now.
It has, but still there's the occasional roamer or counter roamer, someone that's protecting an area that has an Omega Golem, and they rush it over to a camp that gets under attack. Mm-hmm. And what's happening then is you're having to fight this golem, and the person can get out, and if they can't kill you themselves, they can just hop in the golem and then attack you from there. So it's just tough. I hope I don't sound like I'm whining. I'm not really a fan of this event.
Well, why don't we talk about something you are a fan of?
Okay. Shall we move on to Surviving the Mists?
We should.
Surviving the Mists.
Now recruiting for the Battle for the Mists. Is your life a dead end? Looking for meaning? I have the answer to your existential dilemma right here.
Welcome to Surviving the Mist, the segment in which Ultra will just stumble over words and try not to sound like an idiot as he explains things in World v. World that he has very little understanding about. Just kidding. I have a grasp on most of this.
Yeah.
This week we have I think it's a special segment because it was a suggested segment. We're going to be talking about camp flipping, and this is thanks to Elbrin. He wrote in, he said, "I'm really happy you added the Mist segment. Thank you very much. I spend the majority of my playtime roaming the Borderlands for NSP. That's Northern Shiver Peaks, I believe. In a future segment, you might want to spend a bit of time talking more about camps. Pretty much every World v. World player will take a camp at some point, so it's good to understand what the different kinds of guards do, the immunity mechanic for the supervisor, what the different camp upgrades do, etc." And Elbrin, thank you very much for recommending this because, well, we're going to talk about it this week. I appreciate it. So we're going to talk about camp flipping because, like Elbrin said, most World v. World players, even if you do Havoc squads, you're probably going to find yourself alone in a camp at some point or approaching a camp. So we're going to talk about how to flip a camp, how to do it effectively, and how to do it safely as well, because you can effectively flip a camp but still expose yourself to the enemy pretty tragically. First thing we're going to do, let's just say you hop into a Borderlands and you want to flip a camp. What are you going to do first? First, you want to press M. You want to pull up your map and decide which camp you should go for. Now, the easiest ones to go for are the ones closest to your spawns. Like, if you spawn in an enemy borderland, you're probably closest to any of the southern 3 camps, like southwest, south, and southeast, which is like the mill, the forge, and like lake camp or something like that. I forget what they're called. But you want to see if these camps are available to be flipped and what the colors of the camps around them are, because what that's going to tell you, if you see, let's say you hop in, your server's color is red, you hop into green borderland, and you notice that all the camps on the map are blue except for southwest camp, which is closest to your spawn. Should you go for southwest camp? Probably not, because that's, if you look at the map and you see that they're all blue, it means probably there's a roamer or group of people running around just flipping the camps, and they're probably coming for that one next. So you could scout it out, see if maybe it's someone that you could take. Maybe you could ambush them while they're flipping the camp or intercept them. Or you could work against them while they're flipping that camp. You go for a camp that they've already flipped.
Okay.
You've picked the camp that you want to go to. You're approaching the camp. Now, there's a few things that you're going to want to look for, because this is going to tell you whether or not you should flip the camp and how fast you will flip the camp. The first one is RI, Righteous Intervention. What this is, if you see the camp supervisor, if he's got blue fire on him, that means he's going to be invulnerable for a period of time. As soon as a camp is flipped, Righteous Intervention will occur on the supervisor, making the camp immune to flipping by another server for 4 minutes. And so you can kill all the other mobs in the camp, but you cannot kill a supervisor, and you cannot capture the camp then. So it would be wise then to try to flip a camp at like the 3-minute mark, any time where that RI, Righteous Intervention, would extend past the tick on the clock. That way your world or server will get the 5 points that camp would provide for the tick. So you look at the supervisor, it has no RI. The next thing you want to look at is the camp upgraded. You're going to be able to tell this by looking at the right side of your screen. You know how like you have, like if you're out running in PvE, you have like event notifications and stuff. This is going to be very similar to the ones in World v. World. You're going to have a event notification indicating the camp, and it's going to have a camp supply info as well, and it's going to tell you however many supply out of however many. An unupgraded camp is going to be 100 out. It's going to have 100 supply. A camp that has 250 supply, that's a fully upgraded camp. Now, what that's going to mean is that there are going to be a lot more mobs and guards that you have to kill, and the mobs are going to be a lot tougher. Honestly, it is very, very difficult to solo flip a camp that's fully upgraded, because one of the things that occurs is a non-upgraded camp only has char guards and human guards. And what these two things do, I forget their actual names, but the ones that have ranged pistols, they do a lot of blinding. And the chars, they just kind of run up and they will stun you, but they'll hit you pretty much. They're melee based. And then the supervisor, he also has some knockback. But these guys are all kind of easy to control. The type of guard that gets added once a camp gets so many upgrades is called Kabbalist. And the Kabbalists, they can really mess you up because they have this attack that pulls you towards them. So when you go to flip a camp, a very effective way to do that is to pull mobs into a corner, into an area where you can get them all to stack up nice and tight, where you can blind them all or CC them all and then just do lots of damage in a single area. Kind of like effectively doing dungeons. This is how you want to flip camps as well. A fully upgraded camp is much more difficult to do that, because if you make a mistake, you could get pulled by a Kabbalist and then you could end up in the middle of camp and they will just melt you because they have lots of CC available to them. When approaching a fully upgraded camp, it's good to do multiple pulls. There are some class builds that can do it all in one pull, or if you're a very talented player, experienced player, you can probably do it all in one pull. But for the most part, if you are relatively new to roaming or solo camp flipping, it's best to honestly just call out on the map and say, hey, I've got a fully upgraded camp here. Anyone mind helping me flip it? And if no one's available, then try to do it yourself, but do it in multiple pulls. Do not try to do all the mobs at once. A non-upgraded camp, I would strongly encourage you, just go for it. And if you die there, come back and try again. Come back and try again. Because a non-upgraded camp, that's something you should become comfortable with being able to flip by yourself. Now, I will say, though, your build is very important. Go with a roaming build. Do not try to do roaming on a zerging build, because those builds are designed for team support. So like a shout guardian with like hammer staff, like that's going to be very difficult to flip a camp with effectively. Like you can probably do it. You probably have the DPS and the sustain, but you're not going to do it in a timely manner, which is going to make you very vulnerable to attacks.
Okay.
As we're flipping the camp, I've already talked about pulling and stacking. Now, while you are killing the mobs, be cautious. Be very cautious. Don't just focus on the mobs. Angle your camera, or while you're fighting, move your camera around. Check your positioning. Make sure that people aren't coming at you, because when you're flipping a camp, that makes you very, very vulnerable to other roamers. If they see that if you're being slow and the camp has swords on it and they're coming at you, they have an easy kill typically. So you want to be cautious, you want to look out for other players, and you want to be very fast. That's why I say tune your build for roaming. Okay. It's going to make you a lot more effective for that.
Question in chat?
Sure.
It said, how many people would you typically need for each camp stage to take them out or capture them, to flip them?
A seasoned or veteran roamer you just need one person.
Even for the fully upgraded?
Yes.
Okay.
It can be difficult, and even a more experienced player can wipe on them. But one player can flip any camp. Now, if you're new to camp flipping, I would say 2 and 3. I have come up to camps that are fully upgraded and seen 3 dead people in them before, and I have watched 3 people wipe in a fully upgraded camp just because it's very dangerous. Like So
you'd probably still want to pull if you weren't overly.
Like, don't get overconfident. Like, let's say there's 3 of you roaming. Don't just run into the middle of the camp, because you will die quickly, and then they will kill your friends, and no one will mourn for you.
You will die, your friends will die, and no one will be sad.
Yep. And then, someone from the other server will see it happen. They'll come over, and they'll throw a bobblehead laboratory on your corpse.
As you do.
Yeah. I need to get one of those. That needs to be a thing that I do. No, I'm kidding. No, don't be rude to people.
That was a good question. Thanks, or not question, but a good suggestion, Elbryn. Thanks.
Yeah, very, very good. I do want to talk about one thing though, and that's if you are camp flipping, that means you're probably roaming. And I've talked about this before, but there's etiquette with roaming and being a solo player. A lot of people do it because it's very fun. It's you against the world. You can get in these very difficult to win situations, and you can encounter a lot of 1v1s, and you can test your mettle against other players. Be humble in victory and gracious in defeat, and just recognize that whatever happens, it's another person on another screen. And as frustrating as things can be, always just treat people graciously, because it can be very frustrating to spend 5 minutes running across the map and then just get killed by someone, very quickly, and then have them laugh on your body. Like, that's frustrating, but there's no need to lash out at them, and then there's no need to behave that way either. When I first started roaming, I was actually humbled very greatly by this, I think this person was on Kaineng. I started dueling them on my NG. Like, I encountered them as they were en route to a camp, and I started fighting them. They realized they couldn't win the fight, so they ran. And so I chased them down, and it was a long chase, and I ended up killing them, and I laughed on their body. I was like, haha, I just beat this guy. And he messaged me, and he said, hey, good fight. And that just made me feel like 3 inches tall inside. I was like, oh my gosh, like, I was very rude to this person, and then they just responded very kindly, and try to be a kind person anyway. I don't know why I behave this way, but it was a very good thing for that person to do, because it's just always good to be gracious. And it kind of made me consider the way I treat people, and I do that as well. And I hope that the people that listen to the show, I'd imagine, are all of a like mind.
There was a quick question from Artful. Is it different on higher tier World versus World servers or lower, or no difference?
Well, I cannot speak definitely. I have only ever been in bronze tier. I research and watch a lot of streamers on the higher tier servers just to get an idea of it. It seems like the main difference is population. Okay. On bronze tier servers, you can get away with flipping a camp slowly a lot of times during the day because there's just not people around to stop you, which it's kind of sad, but it's pretty easy on bronze to just run around and take all the camps on a map with no resistance. Whereas on higher tier servers, a lot of times guilds will have people guarding certain areas and they will respawn very quickly when they see that something is under attack. Yes and no. Like some bronze servers behave that way. They take it very seriously. Other times, not so much.
IB Storage saying they went from Tarnished Coast to Yak's Bend and there was a difference. So that's cool.
Okay, yeah.
So the previous challenge was to spend some time running around with a Havoc squad, 48 players. 5 is a pretty good number. Use the different siege tactics that we discussed and see what you can accomplish. And I did not go into World vs. World once.
Oh.
I did not. I didn't do
You did not do your homework. Oh my goodness.
Oh, I didn't. But I read the previous challenge here to take some pressure off of you, so does that count?
Sure.
My husband is saying that I get an F.
Fs are for people that try. Zeros are for people that don't even submit anything. So
I got a 2 for reading.
Oh no, that's not how this works. that's like saying you gave me the worksheet, you get credit. No, not my class.
Oh.
That's fine. Okay, and our previous game, we'll go on to next week's challenge and game once we go through the previous stuff. Remember, this is a 10 gold prize for the winner. So here is the game prompt. So in HOT, we're going to be that's Heart of Thorns. We're going to be getting some new siege engines, which is pretty cool. However, with every successful ArenaNet R&D siege creation, there are 5 terrible ones that did not make the cut. Describe a siege machine that ANET decided not to put in the upcoming expansion. Elbrin wrote in and said, Zoja's Logical Deconstructor Golem. Once built and targeted at a wall, the golem begins arguing that objects are made out of atoms. Atoms are mostly empty space, so it really makes no sense for a wall, which is mostly empty space, to stop a person who is also mostly empty space. While this golem does no damage during the argument, eventually the wall loses all will to keep standing and collapses. The golem never actually shipped because the sound team could not agree on the perfect sound to capture the absolute frustration of the wall giving up in order to just be free of the argument.
Like, while it does no damage. That's hilarious.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I like that one, Elbrin.
Yeah, and that was where they asked their question. Yep. The next entry was from Scrit King. Tyrians want to know a quick and easy way to clear out an enemy fort? Bees. Lots of bees. Now introducing the latest in siege weapon technology, box of bees. I don't know if I'm going to be able to finish this. Why waste precious supply on other siege weapons when you can just unleash a plague of nature's fuzzy yellow-striped rage? Watch that enemy Zerg flee in horror as their weapons and defenses are rendered pretty much useless because, bees.
I love that. Because, bees.
For added effect, try shaking the box before opening it. A lot of time and antihistamines were spent putting all these bees into all these boxes, so you're getting a quality product. Warning. Bees cannot differentiate between allies and enemies. Running after opening is recommended. Box of bees coming to a siege merchant near you. Because bees.
I like that he made an infomercial out of that. It's like, buy this.
Antihistamines. I think for added effect, try shaking the box before opening. I could see you be holding like a bundle, and it could be like shake. It could be like the number 2 skill.
Next we have Irish Dog, who submitted the Necro Tower. A tower that can be built anywhere, has a couple of bone minions patrolling around it, starts with 5, a new one spawns every 15 seconds. Wait, what's the cap on that? So is this like every 15 seconds for eternity? That would... Ooh.
I like how you just started like, maybe this isn't failed at all.
This is ingenious. It has a 2,000 range and applies random conditions on passing enemies every 6 seconds. Condies applied only last 1 to 3 seconds, according to how powerful the Condi is. It was coming with Heart of Thorns, but due to heavy nerfing like all Necro stuff, the tower was removed since the devs knew if they announced this and nerfed it, the Necros would rage even more. You know what, Irish Dog? I am going to rename this the Grybach Tower, because if you guys listen to the Relics of Ore podcast, Grybach, about every 2 episodes, he goes on a little rant about how Necros are underappreciated. So this is going to be the Grybach Tower. That's...
Aw, we're going to have to tweet that out to him.
And I mean this in a totally, like, not, like...
In a loving way.
Oh, yeah, in an endearing way.
Yeah.
Very, very good, Irish Dog.
We also had a submission from Particle Shift. The Rejected Siege Weapons Ultra's game. I found a few scrap designs in the circular file in the lab. The loot launcher. It's just distracted Buka is easy prey. A problem? Throw money at it till it's solved. Crichton Nova. This gilded trebuchet costs the user 100 gold each time to fire.
Oh.
It does no damage. Instead, it drops a grand chest at the target. It cannot be opened by the launcher. Server's players. It requires 3 seconds uninterrupted to open the chest. There is a 0.000000002% chance to loot one of the 5 exclusive tradable weapon skins. Normal loot 2 or 3 blues or greens. Chest despawns after 40 seconds. Scrap due to the slaughtering of distracted Zergs led to overwhelming griefing complaints against teams using the launcher. I would actually love this.
It's pretty expensive to operate, though. Jeez,
well, that's
Louise.
why it's the Gilded Trebuchet.
Yeah.
Then there's the Faux Dorito Golem. It's like covering yourself in honey and rolling in red ants. Automatically duplicates the tag of opposing tag commander. 100% speed, 200% incoming damage. Scrapped due to the unfavorable name awarded by the beta testers. So the suicide chip didn't pass the marketing review.
Oh, that 200% incoming damage.
And a Fu Mortar. Fu Mortar. Quaggan come to sing for you. Coo. One-shot mortar. If you hit a tower, keep, or castle, it will spawn an NPC Quaggan inside. 2 out of 5 times, it will spawn a mysterious Quaggan. The mysterious Quaggan forces everyone inside to dance for 5 seconds while the mysterious Quaggan sings the Baby Quaggan song. Use of CC breaks adds the foo effect to the player, while under the foo, your title is changed to I Hate Quaggans. 1 out of 5 times in place of the mysterious Quaggan, Drubert spawns. Oh. If players do not give Drubert a total of 200 gold, if team is in first place, 100 if they are in second place, 50 if they are in third place. Within 3 minutes, the tower, keep, or castle is taken by Mordrum, killing all players inside by deadly gas effect. After 60 seconds, the tower, keep, or castle gas effect is removed and left unclaimed. Scrapped due to all sides stopping battles to listen to the whole Quaggan Babies. Not gonna lie, that would totally be me. Gonna swim with the big fish. Gonna get your wish.
This next one.
Zamoros' Cart. Do you want to read this one?
Sure.
Okay.
Oh my, is that an eternity? Keep Defender, moments before being killed by a greatsword to the face. It appears as a glowing whirlpool in an apple cart. It operates exactly like a normal arrow cart. In place of arrows, a rain of random weapons fall from the sky. This was scrapped due to Zamoros getting upset over the theft of all of his weapons.
That's awesome. And finally, April's Trap. Again, a giant-headed Zerg leader. Much like any of the World vs. World traps, it's laid until an enemy trips it. It forces a random April Fool's effect on all enemy players nearby. Scrapped due to overwhelming complaints. Those are all fantastic. Thanks so much, Particle Shift.
Yeah. Okay, this is from Laren. This might be disqualified, as I'm pretty sure they are all still on the table. Black Lion Blueprint. Takes 100 supply to build, and you get probably nothing you actually wanted. The Warrior Golem Blueprint takes 100 supply to build, and you get to be the A-Net Golden Boy Warrior. Increased damage, movement speed, toughness, health, and condition removal. If you are already a warrior, well, you are invulnerable to everything and can knock down gates and wall in 3 hits or less. Well, I mean, to be fair, Guardians already had that ability a few weeks ago.
I like Golden Boy Warrior.
Yeah. And then one more. This was from a guildmate of mine. His name is Leeboy. He said the literal catapult launches a cat miniature at a location. Upon impact, does nothing except make a screaming cat sound. That's horrifying.
Well, that was like the Tower of Nightmares had that. Like that noise. They were like, where's that noise?
Costs 1 cat miniature per launch.
Yes. Oh, I just noticed about the Greibach finisher, or the Greibach one that you talked about. I just noticed Hunter said that he literally tweeted at Hunter about Necros just today. That's funny. That's adorable. So what are the challenge and game for this week?
The challenge for this week, since we talked about camp flipping and we went over some tips on that, flip all the camps on a borderland. If you can't do that, if you're on a server where it's more difficult to do that, then just flip as many as you can.
So any effort is appreciated, is what you're telling me.
Yeah. Okay. This is one of those participation assignments. As long as you put forth the effort, you're going to get credit.
Yay! Any effort, apparently. And what about the game?
So ArenaNet released the information about Stronghold heroes. So the new game type that we're getting, we get Stronghold, and then we get to summon individual heroes. I thought it would be fun if we could create our own strong hero or heroine. So that is the game for this week. Come up with your own Stronghold hero or heroine. It can be fictional in the game, like the game is fictional, but it exists in the game already. Or you could just make up your own. Like, my hero is like, it's the tennis racket of doom. It's just a floating tennis racket, and it smacks people. That's all it does, and it makes the Wii tennis sound when it hits.
That sounds awesome.
Yep. Oh, we gotta talk about the winner from this past game.
Oh, right. There was a winner.
Yeah, sorry guys. Great entries. The winner is Script King. Very, very good with the bees. That had us laughing pretty hard.
Bees.
Particle Shift, that was really good too, but it goes to Script King.
And slightly related, there was a post in that it's World vs. World. There was a forum post about World vs. World lag by Bill Freest. I guess this was reply on a forum post. He's a gameplay programmer. I put together a fix for a pretty nasty performance issue on our game servers. They should make it into our next release, so I'd be curious to see if it makes a noticeable improvement. The bug looks like it was introduced around when this thread popped up. I also got a couple client improvements that should help reduce frame rate hitching with lower mid-range video cards and or higher shader settings. Coming next release too. So I was like, ooh, very mysterious.
Ooh.
Mysterious.
Tales of Tyria.
first was a YouTube video at SDCC, and I can't remember who was actually doing the video, but they are interviewing Leah Hoyer. And it's not necessarily news, but it's really interesting to get insight into the minds of developers. And I personally would like more Leah because she's an engaging speaker and genuinely seems to love the world. In any event, I listened to this or watched this video earlier, and I think I'm going to watch it again just to make sure I caught everything. But it's not super long. It's just 5 minutes.
Next we have a Guild Wars 2 in-engine cinematic montage. This is, well, Matt Oswald said, here's a small portion of cinematic content, guys screaming at the camera. I've directed at ArenaNet. Clips come from marketing trailers and in-game cinematic moments captured with live camera and players or pieced together using in-house tools and existing animations. Aside from overall direction of every shot, I've had my hand in camera layout, scene layout, camera polish, storyboards, machinima, game capture, edit, and color correction. He's done a lot with these.
The timing to the music is pretty spectacular. Like there's one, it's closer to where the end, and I can't remember if it's like a Flame Legion char or something, but the one arm goes out and then the next arm goes out, kind of like, and the music just goes boom, boom at the exact timing. It was like, that was awesome. Like, it was really well done. I was just always impressed by stuff like that. So
it's really neat to see a lot of these, in-game moments really pulled together too. Like,
yes.
It's a really nice video.
It really is.
Really cool.
I think Hunter had shared this with me a few days ago, and I hadn't got around to seeing it, so I watched it just before the show tonight. I'm like, oh, this is the one. It's very good. No wonder people were sharing it around Twitter and whatnot.
Yeah, it's very well done, very good, and it kind of reminds me of I don't want to sound like too cheesy, but kind of like the magical feel of the game. Mm-hmm. Like when you first get into an MMO and there's just all this crazy stuff. It kind of reminds me of just that first moments looking at different things.
Well, and I was even thinking, like, this is the type of, if you know someone who's somewhat possibly interested, this is, you send them the link to this,
Yeah.
Like, here, just watch this and then tell me what you think. Or like the one with the Everybody Wants to Rule the World one with Lord. Have you seen that one?
No, I know of it though. I haven't watched it yet.
It is so good. Anyway, to end the show, it's a little, not melancholy, bittersweet, maybe bittersweet. This past July 18th, we bid farewell to George Coe, and he's an actor who is, best known for, well, more recently perhaps being Woodhouse on Archer. He was in like Kramer versus Kramer. He's been in a ton of stuff. And specifically, he was, or more pertinent to our show, he was the voice of many of the elderly humans in the game. He had done a lot of Dredge, and I love the Dredge. Their voices and their culture just crack me up. And he also was the voice of Captain Wayant from Wayant's Revenge, the Jumping Puzzle in Lion's Arch. And there is on SoundCloud, maybe I'll put it in the show notes too, the outtakes from doing the Captain Wayant's Revenge are hilarious. Yeah.
I'd want to check that out.
Yeah, so I might include the link in there. And it certainly is sad news. There was one post on Twitter, and I can't remember who said it, so I'm mostly going to paraphrasing, but that sad, but he left a lot of awesome stuff behind. So
yeah,
and he made a lot of people happy.
Yeah.
So, well, that's a good way of saying it, Artful. He lived a full life. So definitely true. So thank you, chat room, for hanging out with us tonight. And you were just amazing with your, amazingness and stuff. You were definitely very active and keeping us on our toes and helping us with information. And I'm sorry I never snort laughed again. Thank you, Ultra, for keeping me company tonight and teaching me about stuff and not giving me too much grief about not doing my homework.
Hey, it's a pleasure to be on the show. Thank you for having me be the substitute for Celeste. It's Not gonna lie, those are scary shoes to fill.
Scary.
Well, that did not sound the way I wanted it to. Poop.
You're stuck. You're stuck. And then finally, thank you for downloading the show on iTunes or watching/listening to us on YouTube or streaming it from the website. We're 8 million different places, apparently. Hopefully you enjoyed it and got some laughs. But most importantly, we hope to see you in game.
The Legion calls.
So if you have a community event that you would like for us to share, go ahead and send us an email.
Seize the moment.
And if you've got a burning question or for our Ask an Azura segment, just let us know.
I'm selling. You buying?
We have coupon codes for Doghouse Systems. Use the coupon code MMO Reporter at doghousesystems.com to get an additional 120 gigabyte Super Star Destroyer drive for free on their next build.
Nice gear.
Or a star-studded diaper.
Or a star-studded diaper.
Yep.
No free samples.
Patreon page. If you're in love with the show or the network, please consider becoming a patron on our Patreon page.
Thanks for pitching in.
In the very least, it helps us keep the metaphorical lights on. So check it out at patreon.com/MMO Reporter.
That fulfills my needs. Thanks so much.
audibletrial.com/MMO Reporter. Books!
Books, now with sound!
Knowledge is the greatest treasure.
If you want a free audiobook, you should go to audibletrial.com/MMO Reporter.
That's valuable.
So, Allona, if people want to get in contact with us, how would they do so?
They would email us at gwreporter@mmoreporter.com. Twitter is @gwreporter. Our website is guildwarsreporter.com.
You must visit more often.
Voicemail is 616-666-6778, or use the widget on the right-hand side of the website. Our YouTube channel is MMO Reporter Network, and remember to like our videos and subscribe to the GW Reporter playlist. And if you feel like it, wander around and see what other shows are on the network that you might enjoy.
You are a welcome guest.
Mm-hmm.
Facebook is GW Reporter. Tumblr is gwreporter.tumblr.com.
In a world where you can visit us on Twitter, I am Ultra at Ultratown.
Find me at Hunter's Insight.
Allona may be found at One Big Pair.
As in PEAR.
And Celeste at Selly Ookie.
CELEOOKIE.
Yeah. Or you can visit us in game. I'm onebigpair.1249.
And Ultra is
Ultratown.5683.
And I'm Selyuki.5046.
May the spirits of the wild watch over you.
Good hunting.
Keep your blade sharp and your powder dry.
Take care of yourself.
May the Six watch over you.
Until next time.
So, can people hear me and Ultra?
Checking the mic. Check 1. Check 2.
I can't do that, so... Oh.
I like all the skins, so...
Sorry. They're still coming up with new names for me.
Unconscious Ultra?
No, unctuous. Unconscious.
Oops.
Unctuous Ultra.
Unctuous.
I like underwear model Ultra. Undeniable. Underwater. Okay, stop. Stop. It's funny. Stop, you're so funny. Yes. Oh, yeah, that's a good one. Understanding Ultra.
I try my best.
Yes.
Undercover Ultra.
Yeah.
Underhanded Ultra. Hey, that's... Holy cow, there are so many U words in this chat right now.
I know.
Wow. Unusable.
I like undeniable. Actually, I like usable too. There's usable and unusable.
Undistinguished. Ow. Ow. Did I say him?
All right. It sounds like she may have stopped. I'm sorry, guys. Please continue.
I think my wife is on the phone upstairs. Can you... Oh, train.
Good lord.
When the dogs are quiet, the train continues. So.
Unparalleled. Ooh, that's a good one.
You has a background train.
Unabashedly old. All right. We're going to keep going.
I'm sorry, I just saw Uptown Funk You Up Ultra.
Okay, we broke them.
Train. Wow. It was just... Oh, and it's all sorts of loud.
And my dog's outside barking, and now we got people racing on the road.
Just hooligans. Train driving hooligans. Hello, everybody.
Oh, maybe not.
I just drank the lustful Legionnaire tonic.
Oh my gosh.
Celeste, cut this powder out. Cut it out.
Oh my gosh.
With chat, what's this Ultra After Dark? What?
Well,
because of
your lusty tonic.
Hello, everybody.
Ultra
is
Unplugged.
in the house. Old Spice Ultra.
Most importantly, we hope to see you in game.
Hot dog.
Diggity dog. You just did that to keep me from going do 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 do.
Maybe.
Remember.
Thanks for watching the video, everybody. Don't forget to check out all the other podcasts at MMOreporter.com or by clicking on any of the links here. And please check out our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MMOreporter. Thanks, everyone, and see you in game.